You just stumble upon it every once in a while with our chat.
It's a happy accident.
Absolutely, a happy accident. All right. Kirby talked multiple times about his depth chart and about the lack of depth on this roster really, really concerning him. And I think what he was talking about isn't the lack of talented football players. They have ample amount of talent. But through the exercise that we're about to do, you're going to notice that he does have a point. They don't have a lot of known experience and a lot of known talent on this roster. They got a bunch of projections, and I think we should take a look at it right now. All right. Let the chat keep cooking on your boys' chin structure. We're going to talk more about football now. All right, so this is the depth chart that we put out a couple of weeks ago, right? Right before spring practice. Is this how we did this?
Yes.
All right, and I don't think that for the most part, there's been a lot of movement. This was actually released by our network right after the Ra Thomas incident because I do not see Ra Thomas on this list. So we're good. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through this list in a blue check mark form and go through the players that are known commodities in the SEC. So these are individuals who have started football games and made shit happen in this conference. All right. So starting with the quarterback room, there's the one and only. It's Carson Beck. All right. Trevor Etienne is the one and only in the running back room. We would agree right now for Georgia, correct?
Correct.
We're not going to say Branson Robinson checks this box. Fourth quarter mop-up duty 18 months ago doesn't count. We're not going to do Roger Robinson. Mop-up duty as a freshman last year doesn't count. The known commodity in this room, one and only Trevor Etienne.
Agreed.
All right, we all agree. Now, in the wide receiver room, we are not going to count Colby Young. Your Miami successes were not only up and down, they were ACC successes. We're going to say Dylan Bell checks this category. We're going to say Dom Lovett completes this category. Arian Smith. Where are we at?
He's made some stuff happen.
He's made stuff happen.
All right, we'll put him down. It's a known commodity.
I mean, it's going into year 3 now with Arian Smith.
And he's leading your room. You better feel comfortable about him. All right, we're going to check his box. The rest of them, I'm going to say no for London Humphreys. You did it in limited roles and in limited successes as a true freshman at Vandy. This is a total different ball game coming and trying to play on this Georgia offense, correct?
Agreed.
All right, now let's go on to the tight end room. Feel good about Oscar Delp's development. Feel good about Urosic's ability to play college football.
If you're going to put Urosic up there, I would make an argument for Colby Young. And if you're not going to put Colby Young, I would say Urosic's probably.
Urosic's got like all Pac-12 honorable mention stuff. Colby Young and
it's Pac-12 success though. Like if
it's Pac-12 success at a rate of 750 yards as a tight end. I don't think Colby Young's gone over 400 yards in his entire career.
Fair.
These are two different discussions.
But I mean, Urosic's also coming off an injury.
All right, so we'll just go ahead and do that. You want to do that?
That's fine.
All right, I'm open for debates.
Whatever you want.
Hey, it's a 2 out of 3 system here. What do you say, J-Will?
The injury last year makes me want to think not to give him a check mark, but I think we'll leave it off for now.
All right, we're up in the air either way.
Yeah.
All right, offensive line is pretty much all across the board except for Jared Wilson. The half a check is Micah Morris, right? Mm-hmm, Micah Morris is a known thing in this conference. We feel good about his ability to play in the SEC. I'm going to give him a check.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Now, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And here's the real concern, right? There ain't a too deep answer one with regards to experience. Now, you don't expect this anywhere else. Now, everybody else has this same exact problem. But when you lay it out this way, on the offensive side of the football, you can understand why he's a little bit concerned with regards to depth.
Could you check off Monroe Freeling for what he did in Vandy? Or
I would not. On that? I would say Monroe Freeling getting a check is no different than Lawson Lucky getting a check.
Fair.
There's still things that we got to figure out whether or not these guys are 100% sure things in this conference.
Very fair.
All right, when you do it this way, there's a lot more questions about this roster than there are answers about this roster. Agree?
Yeah. Yes.
Roster as a whole, yes.
And we don't even want to forecast it on this slide for the next year.
Ooh.
Next year, this exercise gets real daunting.
Like the only room next year you might be feeling really good about is running back.
Yeah. All right. On to the next slide. I don't think we're doing this slow enough.
Tight end as well.
Boom. Here we go. All right. So we're going to give Dan Jackson a check here, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to give Malachi Starks a check and Dalen Everett a check. Mm-hmm. We're going to give C.J. Allen a check. We're going to give Smile Mondon a check. We're going to give Warren Brinson a check. Surely, right? 5 years in, but he's hurt right now. All right, we'll give him a check. Huh?
Jalen Walker gets one, right?
Yeah.
Does Jake Pope get a check?
No. has never started in the SEC. Because here Stackhouse gets a check, Michael Williams gets a check. He's on here twice. Chaz Chambliss gets a check. Tyrion Ingram Dawkins.
It's been waiting and seeing, it feels like.
Still don't know. We think we know.
Shown flashes, made shit happen, but not on a consistent enough basis to know he's a proven commodity.
Again, when you do it this way on the defensive side of the football, you can see what he's talking about. Sure. There's a bunch of talent on this board, a tremendous amount of talent. What there aren't is a tremendous amount of guarantees. In fact, defensively, it's a lot more questions than it is 100% answers with regard to known commodities.
I think you could kind of make the argument for Julian Humphrey to get a check. He played a good bit last year.
How many of these non-checks are you going to say would heavily bet on them to succeed?
New practice here. How many of these non-checks do we feel good about, right? I like this. I like that we're doing this. We're going to have to go back and do this on the offensive side of the football too. I really like this. I feel good about both these guys, okay? And if he had to play, I would feel good about Ellis Robinson, okay? I feel good about Raylan Wilson's ability to be winnable, okay? I feel really good about Tyrion Ingram Dawkins and Gabe Harris based off everything that we've been told. Yep. I feel good about Damon Wilson developing into this fall, okay? A little bit better and a little bit more safe of a feeling. All right. Questions here.
Yep.
But not concerns, just questions. Hey, make sure we know that you're going to be out there doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
A little bit better of a feeling about the roster doing it that way. Let's do this same exercise on the offensive side of the football. Let's go back and do these blue checks. We gave Carson one, Etienne one, Bell, Arian Smith, Dom Lovett. Okay, we gave Oscar one. We gave Truss, Ernest Green, Tate Ratledge, Dylan Fairchild, Micah Morris. All right, now, we feel good. We feel good about Benjamin Jurasic, right?
Correct.
We feel good about
Monroe Freeling.
You feel good about Monroe Freeling.
I mean, you feel
where else?
You feel good about the entire running back room. I know there's injury question marks there, but all three of those guys, I'd say you're very confident in.
And you can add Nate Frazier in here as well.
Yes.
That they like.
And I think you can say that you feel good about Anthony Evans.
Okay. You feel good about the prospect of Anthony Evans this year.
I think that the flashes that he showed at the end of the year, like that was the right track for a true freshman in a wide receiver room. Like you proved throughout last season, obviously to the coaching staff, that you deserve a meaningful, like a punt return in the SEC championship game with the game on the line. You deserve something. You earned something.
A late run onto the field, too.
Yes.
That was the craziest part about that play.
Obviously, you proved something to the coaching staff then, and then for them to make you an emphasis in the offense in the Orange Bowl as well. I think you could say you can feel good about it because the staff has shown signs that they feel good about it.
I think Jared Wilson and Lawson Lucky also get checks.
I was about to do Lawson, and I was about to do Jared Wilson as well. I almost feel like they should be in a lighter hue of yellow. I feel like they're almost borderline questionable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like we could do the same thing with Jared Wilson right now that we're doing with Jonell Aguero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I feel like we do the same thing. I saw stuff on film that was like, yeah, you're fast. A lot of other stuff we got to clean up, you know? And there's some still stuff you got to clean up moving forward.
I guess looking at this now, and I'm just off the top of my head thinking, it doesn't feel like it's that much different than it was last year. Like Carson Beck wasn't a check last year. Virtually no one in your running back room was a check last year.
Hell, you didn't have one to start the season.
That's what I'm saying. Like Dom Lovett was not a check last year. Dylan Bell wasn't a check last year. Ladd was the only one who I would say was Ladd and Brock were your two checks as your pass catchers, and Ladd was not available at the start of the season. So
offensive line, you had 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, but I mean, like my point is like, as much as Kirby's hammering, like, he doesn't feel like there's a lot of depth. I don't feel like you've had a lot of depth over the last 2 or 3 seasons just because of the amount of exodus you've had to the NFL and the transfer portal and so on.
I would like to know, I would like to save this and then after the Clemson game almost. I think that week 1, you're going to find out about a lot of these people. Like, you're going to get an answer about Jonell Aguero against Clemson. You're going to get an immediate reaction of how you felt he played at start. Now, that's not set in stone like, okay, he's a check now or he's an X. Like, we don't feel good about him because it is week 1. But I think that just off of like a week 1 reaction, I think you're going to get a lot of answers. And I think like Colby Young, you'll get an early reaction of how he feels in the wide receiver room. Nate Frazier might get some burn against Clemson. Like, is the flashes there in a game, not just practice? I think there's a lot of players that.
Same thing with guys like KJ Bolden on the defensive side of the football. You'll feel like you'll get a far better answer about Raylan Wilson early in the season.
Jared Wilson's one.
The third linebacker is always getting PT no matter what's going on there.
Yeah.
Jared Wilson, obviously, you'll get a quick answer on. He's got a tough matchup with Peyton Page tough early on in the football season, assuming he's 100% healthy, which takes us to our next topic, which is indeed the injury report. Let's head back to the desk and talk about that a little bit.